ladies and gentlemen, you know, in the present time, the buzzwords are skilling India, made in India, privatization, and also, there's something called social stock exchange. Even NGOs can upgrade themselves to social stock exchange, startup. Do you get grant under startup? There's a whole concept of inclusivity, as Chairman also pointed out, and we are using inclusive development as the buzzword. All those things which are the part of the present arena, they lead us to public-private partnership, which should, in turn, lead to inclusive society. I'd like to share with you a few examples how our ministries, how our country, how our system is becoming more inclusive through this phenomenon of public-private partnership. I'm very happy because there's one subject you need to embrace for the coming years, coming times. NGOs cannot just keep on surviving on charity, on public support. You have to upgrade yourself into a new system. You have to become a partner. You can't be recipient of charity always. We have to now change the whole outlook, whole profile. My organization is one of the largest NGOs in the country in the disability sector. We started doing this exercise 30 years before. We thought that in the coming times, it's your own strength which will take you further. And today I'm very happy to say that that has given us very good results. But before I do anything, I'd like to share a few examples, few case studies. I have a request. If you find that small case study appealing or impressive, please clap for the people whom I'm going to show you. They come to this level out of their struggle, out of the support of NGOs like you, out of public-private partnership. My first person, which needs to be really appreciated. Anybody had heard name of Shruti Lata Singh? Anyone in the audience? You heard the name. Who is she? You met her. Okay. Thank God one person knows, but everybody should know her. You should be proud. This is the first deaf-blind girl of your country who has become physiotherapist. Any one of you who believes in Google it. Just type deaf-blind physiotherapist. You'll see the marvelous result. She is the only deaf-blind physiotherapist in the world in the Google search. And she belongs to your country. Let's go to the next person. Who has heard the name of Bhavina Patel? It's very sad, isn't it sad? The lady who has created history for this country. And we are in the field. Bhavina Patel is the first wheelchair crores. Our country recognizes the talent now. The lady who got the silver medal, imagine if she would have got the gold medal, it would have been 25 crores. She missed it. And not only that, she got job as an assistant director in the ESIS. Next is more appealing. Vishnu, very nice name. Vishnu is from a very small village in Banaskantha, and last week he was adjudged as the best blind football player in the BRICS countries. Out of all the 9 BRICS countries, he is the best blind football player and he belongs to your own country, and he has come out of the hard work. Darpaninani. Again, you must remember this name. Out of all the blind chess players in the world, his ranking is number 3. And he got a gold medal in the Asian chess games. And last week, your hands again need to be kept ready. Last week, Government of Gujarat gave him 40 lakhs of rupees as a cash award, which is a very small thing. Also gave him a job as his assistant director of Sports Authority of India. And a girl with him, who was also playing the same game, same time, Himanshi Rathi, she got the silver medal, and like Inani, she got 20 lakhs cash award and the job as Taluka Development Officer. She is in charge of a whole tehsil. They all are blind. They're totally blind. And see, the out of hard work, today Himanshi she's going to join next week as Taluka Development Officer. Sudha Patel, anyone? She was the first Sarpanch, despite being a totally blind person. First lady Sarpanch of village Changa. That was a small beginning. She was invited world over to come and address how a blind lady can become a Sarpanch of a village. Today, she handles Patanjali business of 3 crores per year, all by herself. And she is the most popular lady in Gujarat and in Nadiyad. Now, why I showed you all these pictures? A reason to do that. All of them are persons with disabilities. All of them have struggled. All of them have come to this level with support of people like you. All of them come from very small places. All of them have very modest background. But all of them have the benefit of public-private partnership. All of them were sponsored by corporate while they were playing, because you have to go to a couple of countries for the rating tournament. Unless you have world rating, you cannot play in Asian Games, you cannot play in Paralympics. So to get the rating done, you have to go to different rating games. You need money for that. None of them, apart from Himanshi, could afford to travel. So a lot of companies like Adani, Reliance, Wagh Bakri Tea, etc., Shah Invest Homes, Stride Climate, these all are companies. They came forward. We will support them. We will put money on them and let them go and play. And the result is, thanks to these companies, that these people have brought great honor to our country, to our field of disability development, to the concept of partnership, and to my institute, Blind People's Association, because all of them belong to my institute. I picked up the first example as a sports partnership, but that's the upcoming area. Khelo Gujarat started from Gujarat, sports for people with disabilities, which has become Khelo India. Gujarat government was spending 5 crore every year on sports for people with disabilities. Thanks to Shri Narendra Modi. He has been very supportive of that. Now it's become Khelo India. And now our people are getting awards everywhere. That's where we need partnership of the corporate, government, institutes, sports authorities, etc. So it's a multi-sectoral partnership which enables our people to rise and grow and to reach to that levels. And they all, and these are only few examples. The list is very long. If I give you only those case studies, my session will be over. Now, we come to the subject proper, the public-private partnership. Even the UNDP, which does the studies around the world, has identified various pathways to enhance disability inclusion, which can depend upon 5 factors. So if any one of you wants to talk, understand, project, promote, adopt the public-private partnership, we have to think of 5 important factors as has been projected by UNDP. First of all, we have to have cost-effective solutions for including people with disabilities in workplaces. This is focusing that unless we motivate the corporate, the employers to go for this partnership and make the places inclusive, and it should be cost effective. No company will spend a lot of money if the returns are not there, but if it's cost effective, they'll do that. So first principle of public-private partnership as per UNDP is the cost effective solution in the workplaces. Second, accessibility. How to reach there? How to reach to the school? How to reach to the pre-primary school? How to go to a college? How to go to a university? Most of places are still not accessible. We have the law, but if we have to go for a public-private partnership, accessibility is the buzzword, is the landmark. Big Bazaar. Who goes to Big Bazaar? Most of you. Can you raise your hand? There's one company where all big bazaars invariably are accessible, all the new ones, because they adopted the policy that if we have any big bazaar, we will see that there are ramps, there are lifts, and there are support services, so people can go everywhere. There's a 1 hour allocated every week, is called inclusive hour, when only people with disabilities can go there and do the shopping. That's the power of partnership if you motivate them. And then third and very important factor, cultivating an inclusive workplace culture. Not only the environment, not only the machineries and equipment, not only the warning signals, whole culture, whole outlook, that means the people, the human resources, the environment, the machinery, the outlook, the policy, the systems, everything has to be inclusive, and that can be done if the corporate believes in the public-private partnership and believes in the implementation of the law. That's what we have to achieve. And the most important, there have to be some incentive. Everything comes by paying some cost. We have the schemes. Anybody? Is there a scheme for giving incentive to the employers? Anybody? Is there any scheme in this country to give the incentive to the employer of people with disabilities? Yes, there's a scheme, but we'll come back. There's a scheme in the law. No, it was earlier. Now I'll just come back. And most important, unless you understand these 5 factors, we cannot progress in the public-private partnership. Now I'll give you a few examples. The live examples, how this concept of PPP has made difference to our field. But before that, the incentive is if any employer employs a person with disabilities, they get employer's contribution of Provident Fund and ESIS as a grant from the government, as a support from the government. So government pays the money for Provident Fund and ESIS. It's not a very big incentive, but there's some incentive. Now friends, we have been talking, today morning also we talked, Right to Education Act, and very beautiful thing, from 2012 through amendment, it covers children with disabilities. And the meaning of that is that every school in this country, irrespective of ownership, it may be private, corporate, cooperative, self-managed, government, local authority. Every school has to admit people with children with disabilities. This is mandatory. Why it has been done? Because government wants. Why only government schools should admit people with disabilities? Why only state should always be held responsible for all these services? Private sector, which is thriving, which is making a lot of money, which is very rich, which has objective of education. Why can't they also admit children with disabilities? And we brought the law. Right to Education Act is the most bold law in this world today. There's no other law anywhere, not even in America, which says that it's mandatory to admit a child with disability and government will pay for the expenses. Private sector has to provide infrastructure and admission. But what is the cost of that education through a grant is paid by the government, because we have concept of free and compulsory education, primary education in this country. So government is doing that. And to promote partnership, as I mentioned, government pays for the expenses, provides scholarship, provides transport facility under Magar Shiksha and other schemes, provides assistive devices, and provides accessible material. How many people are aware that every child with visual impairment is entitled to completely free of cost Braille books, irrespective of earning of, you are aware. Which is that scheme?
I don't know the scheme, but I'm aware that they are given as a free books.
Just remember that every child who needs a Braille book, every child who needs an audio book, every child who needs technology is entitled for free, totally free of cost. In fact, there's more money available than the children who are ready to take those books. Yes. You could say that, sir.
The scheme for devices, you can Google on the ministry's website, Ministry of Social Justice website, or Department of Empowerment for the Persons with Disabilities. The scheme is ADIP scheme, that is providing free of cost aids and appliances to persons with disabilities. That is the scheme.
Just to add to that, there are 18 Braille presses, 32 Braille presses in the country, which have been designated to give free of cost Braille books to every child, irrespective of earning of the parents. Anybody can claim that. Now, this is to promote public-private partnership in the education sector. Beautiful concept. Startup is going to be the future of this country for the young people and for technology. India's first assistive technology focused ecosystem supports and promotes innovative startup working in the assistive technology segment. If anybody goes for a startup and wants to develop a technology, grant is available in crores of rupees. And even the startup for technology for people with disabilities are eligible for that grant. And many have taken the grant. Why government is doing that? Because technology is must. It has to be affordable. It has to be Indian. It has to be local. It has to be made in India. And to do that, they are giving a very, very liberal grant under various schemes to see that technology develops in the country. I'll give you some examples a little later. There's an incubation center, especially for technology for people with disabilities. And people working for such products, they can incubate their products to test it, the efficiency, effectiveness, cost effectiveness. Incubation can be done at no cost. Government takes care of that cost. There's an innovative challenge that aims to empower and assist startup dedicated to leveraging innovative technologies to break up barriers. Very important. They specify the areas where these grants support is available to break down the barriers, enhance accessibility, foster inclusivity within the financial ecosystem for persons with disabilities. And interestingly, in last 2.5 days, all these words have been discussed. All these concepts have been discussed and debated. And all these have already been covered in the startup for getting grant from the government, because government wants public-private partnership in our field. Also, and most important, many startups have already developed and have started marketing these devices to provide access to people with disabilities, to enhance their accessibility and communication. Both areas, communication as well as accessibility, Anybody has heard of a product called Orbit? Orbit. No. ORBIT. Anyway, this is a wonderful product. This product for reading the braille. You can attach to any device and braille output is available. Now, very interesting thing. This product is sold in USA. Companies based in USA. This product was costing 2.5 lakhs of rupees. This company sells in now 40,000, started with 25,000. Most affordable product on the earth today in the braille reading. But the most beautiful thing, while product is sold from America, is made in Vadodara. Product of your country is sold from USA, and this company has taken the grant. Now coming to accessibility, many of you know, we have been talking, Section 46 of the Rights of Persons with Disability Act casts the responsibility upon the private sector. We are not talking only government buildings, we are not talking public building, we are talking private sector to provide an accessible environment so that sector may also play an important role in ensuring accessibility of people with disabilities. What a bold act we have. It was very tough. As I mentioned earlier, I was part of the law drafting committee. We are arguing on every word. Every word you see in the right ROPWD Act was debated, was argued. There was a committee which was arguing every time. Including private sector was such a difficult task. But we fought for that. We said, unless the private sector is covered, this law will never be complete. So with great efforts, this government agreed to cover the private sector, and the example given was, a provident fund can be provided in private sectors. Why not accessibility? That's where the government has to bow down. If you can apply provident fund, ESIS, labor laws, minimum wage act to private sector, why not the accessibility? And that was the winning point, that we could get the accessibility as a part of system in the private sector to promote public-private partnership. And many public places like hotels, malls, airports, bus stands, hospitals are now accessible. Beginning has been made. They should have been accessible 3 years before. But we are slow. We don't take action. But as per the law, every public place, the public place means every place where public goes. Any place where public, which is open to public, is a public place. Doesn't matter who owns that place. Public or government or cooperative or trust, doesn't matter. But if public is allowed to go there, that has to be accessible. People with disabilities to go for public-private partnership, that is very essential. I'll show you a beautiful picture. Anybody can identify this place? Only. Pardon? Which bus stand? Somebody saying, yeah, this is BRTS Ahmedabad. Very classical example of public-private partnership. This is the first urban transport, apart from metro, urban road transport, which is accessible. When BRTS was coming up, we approached them. Look, you are covered under the law. It has to be accessible. They said, no, we cannot do that. Because every bus stand, there are 286 bus stands. Every bus stand will cost 10 lakhs extra to make it accessible. Just count it how many crore it comes to. But we said, it cannot be counted in money. Accessibility cannot be counted in terms of money. You are a public-private transport. Government is giving you money and corporation is running it for the people. It has to be accessible. I'm very happy. Every bus stop in the city of Ahmedabad, BRTS, now there are more than 300, is accessible to people with disability. You can see a beautiful ramp, again designed by our institute, markings, tactile tiles, and the very classical example, Kankariya Lake. It's a beautiful lake. When you come to Ahmedabad, do go there. It's one of the fantastic lakes in urban area. And again, the same story. This is accessible under public-private partnership because the government money the corporate is using. The moment you use the government money, the law applies to you and is accessible. And who knows that private sector has to have equal opportunity policy? Anybody has an idea? मेरी आपसे एक हाथ जोड़ के गुजारिश है, आप प्लीज बुरा मत लगाना, एक बार आप ROPWD पढ़ लीजिए, एक बार, ये हर एक फॉर्मेट में अवेलेबल, हर एक भाषा में अवेलेबल है, ब्रेल में है, लॉर्ड प्रिंट में है, ऑडियो में है, मराठी में है, गुजराती में है, पंजाबी में है, इंग्लिश में है, हिंदी में है, दुनिया की सब भाषा में अवेलेबल है, नहीं है तो गूगल ट्रांसलेट करके दे देगा आपको, प्लीज एक बार आप पढ़ लीजिए. दिस इज अ ब्यूटीफुल लॉ. It will give you a lot of tool for advocacy. This is one of the first laws of our country which says that there has to be equal opportunity policy by every corporate company. Every company has to develop and notify equal opportunity policy. And the idea was to make the whole sector inclusive and to bring in public-private partnership. And there's Section 21, remember that. If you don't want to read that, just remember Section 21 bracket 1, which is a very bold act on equal opportunity policy. It mandates that every establishment shall notify and upload on the website their equal opportunity policy detailing measures they need to take for ensuring inclusion. Most important, in all opportunities, in all public as well as private sector. Again, I prevail upon, very clearly is mentioned that private sector also has to have equal opportunity policy, and and I'm very happy. Many companies, few I have listed, Lemon Tree, Capgemini, IBM, Wipro, Accenture, Tata, Miracle, Cafe Coffee Day, Costa Coffee, KFC, Jubilant, Harsh Engineering, Wagh Bakri Tea, etc. have already developed and notified these policies. But there are thousands of other companies which have yet to notify these companies. And the breaking news is companies are now required to file status of this policy in their annual returns. When they file returns to the registrar of companies, they have to notify whether they have done or not. It's a wonderful section. If it gets implemented, will be shortage of people who are looking for the jobs. Okay, one small question. From which country this concept has come? Any guess? We took this concept from another country. So which country is very strong in equal opportunity policy? Sorry? USA. Kindly clap for him. At least he could. US is one of the few countries which has equal opportunity policy. KFC is US corporated company. They are in USA, but when in India also, they follow the USA law. KFC employs people with speech and hearing impairment everywhere in a large number. Cafe Coffee Day. All these are American companies. Ford Motors has taken 100 in Ahmedabad plant, Sanand plant, 100 people with disabilities because they follow the law of that country where they are incorporated, because when they file the returns, if they not follow the laws, there are very heavy penalties. I hope one day our country will also do that. It's very sad that American company has the policy, Indian company does not have. Now we shared this with the Adani, and I'm very happy with a lot of discussion and argument. I mean, it's just a statement, not to be quoted. They're likely to employ 100,000 people with disabilities in various parts and plants of Adani. And as a starting point, their HR head, inclusive employment, is a lady, Vaishali, who's totally blind. So they can a blind lady as a HR head, so that inclusivity takes place in their country in the reality. Now we come in the employment sector with Section 35, which says very clearly that government and local authorities do provide incentive to employees. As I mentioned, the incentive is a contribution to Provident Fund and the ESIS. It's being reviewed. There may be more contribution. And as you know, government provides the national awards to the employers in the private sector also. These all are attempts to make the public-private partnership meaningful. Now I come to a very important part, which very few people know. There's also such partnership in the livelihood mission. At the moment, in the coming years, there's going to be a very strong livelihood mission program, and this is in the Ministry of Rural Development, and they have launched Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana, and where they want private sector to employ people with disabilities, people who belong to rural areas, and number of companies have been invited to implement this program. They can also run the program and get the grant to train the people, skill the people, and find the jobs for them. This is a true example of public-private partnership, and I'm very happy. My organization is the first organization in the country to get a grant of 2.5 crores under this mission to train people. Second was Smarthanam, Bangalore, but they backed out. So if any one of you is even considering that we should motivate our rural youth to come and get the training and go for employment, huge money is available. There are no takers for that money because government wants the sector to be inclusive, people to be employed, and these are all the examples. Now the CSR, this you people know. How many people take money into CSR? Only one. Not very good. CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility 2, आप भी लेते होंगे 3, 4, 5, everybody should take. Ritika is there, no? She is the dancer, so singer of last night. Even she has got the money under CSR. You know how much money is under CSR? What is the budget allocation?
2%. 2%.
2% of the profit. But how much it comes to? Mind-boggling.
Depends on the profit.
But at present it's coming to, दोनों हाथ याद रख लेना, 50,000 crores of rupees. 50,000 crores are available under CSR, and they have to spend for promoting activities, including people with disabilities. And you're very happy. You can check on the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The top area, education. Second area, health. Third area, disability. Already disability is very prominent because many organizations like ours get very large grants under CSR. BPA gets almost 10 crores every year only under CSR. Thank you, ma'am. And so there's a huge money, and the whole concept of CSR is to bring in the corporate in the management of NGOs. And CSR is not a money-giving activity. This is just to see that corporate gets involved in management. Now I come to a beautiful example. Deepak Foundation went to Government of Gujarat. They say, give us a school for the blind and children with multiple disabilities, and we will manage the whole school. Under public-private partnership, this school is in Vadodara, and Deepak Foundation is now managing. They are now expanding to skill development, and Government of Gujarat has made a scheme. Any school which is run by the government, corporate can take over and run it under public-private partnership. Second example in the disability sector is Torchit, is the device, vibrating device for the blind. They already got a few crores under public-private partnership, and here is the proof. The minister is the government of our Department of Empowerment is given the grant, photo is not there, is given the grant to this particular company to develop the devices for the people with disabilities. And the third example is EDI, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, which has got a huge grant under public-private partnership to skill, motivate, empower people with disabilities. And here you see Jay, who is a very accomplished painter, is a child with cerebral palsy, and he is known as a very good painter. So he is being given a very sizable support to promote his painting business at a larger scale. Now the next example, as I mentioned, is that many companies which are developing the devices for people with disabilities Anybody heard of smart-on? Smart-on glasses? Jyoti glasses? What is smart-on? Okay, very good. Thank you. You are quite well versed with the new thing. This smart-on is the glass made by company under PPP. Okay, very good. Thank you. So this is the first device which is costing 3 lakhs. Elsewhere is costing 10,000 in India. This is a device which can read the text. The glasses with camera, with an application. It's an app with camera which can see the objects, describe the objects, read the text. Anybody who has a visual impairment, even with other disabilities, they can use that. And this product has come under public-private partnership. And friends, the last word. According to me, public-private partnership is a golden opportunity. This is just to promote collaborative arrangements between government and the private sector to provide goods and services to people who need them. Is a way of addressing disability inclusion in India as a combined effort of government, public, and civil societies. And the target is including people with disabilities, their families, and communities in the mainstream of social development. And now, as I have the last 1 minute, so I'll come to the last part. Excellent beginning has already been made. And I'm a living example of that. We have benefited under all these modes I showed you. And the money runs into crores of rupees. And we cover thousands of people under this. If we can do, why cannot every one of you? Beginning has been done, but we have a long way to go in formalizing, motivating, promoting concept in the disability sector. And today we have made the beginning from you. You are a awakened lot. Lest you be the experiment of doing that. And if we need to understand the concept of public-private partnership, identify areas of partnership where private players are willing to work for the disability sector. If you do that, I think whole sector can be transformed from the concept of charity to the concept of development to the concept of partnership. And I'm very grateful to all of you for your patient hearing, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Punani. It was so informative, this session, and I'm looking forward for lots of questions. Who's asking the first question? Please do.
Hello, I'll go back to my place. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that someone in my family, they run a hallmarking center, a gold hallmarking center, and somebody with visual impairment had come to them. They trained that person, and the person started working with them. They were so overjoyed with their dedication and commitment that currently they are starting a new setup where they have entire area dedicated towards training, and they have decided to employ 10 to 15% of their workforce.
Thank you.
And this is my own family project, and I think what touched me the most is that because I'm also working in the field and I keep sharing updates that this has come, and I'm sure each one of you also can do the same. Thank you.
Sir, you mentioned about one product which is made in India, devised in India, innovated in India, but US is selling now. So can you give me the reason for that?
Actually, we had a scheme of OE, export oriented production. It's called export oriented production unit. Once you put up the export oriented unit, you are exempted from many duties. So this company is an American company run by an Indian. So when they were looking for a partner to produce that product, they found a company in Vadodara which was making earlier the brailers. So they had the machinery and equipment. They only have to modify in the electronic terms or IT terms. So they found that the cost of production in India will be much cheaper because our labor is much cheaper as compared to America. But no, something of concern. If that product is sold from America, whole world will accept. If the product is sold from India, developed countries will be reluctant. It's an Indian product. That I'm talking 7-8 years before. So they decided as a strategy that we remain an Indian company, we do production in Vadodara and market it from USA. Then we wanted those products, they're very good. So we approached the government. We said, this is nonsense. Why I should buy product from New York if it's produced in Vadodara? You give me from Vadodara. Why I should pay in American dollars and pay all the expenses of sending the product and bringing the product? You all will be very happy. We wrote to the Prime Minister of India, sir, this is ridiculous. Product made in Vadodara is sold in Ahmedabad from New York. This country cannot, and they did that. They given an exemption. Now you can get that product in India from Vadodara at Indian price. Because now we have progressed.
For the world market, they are selling from
Yes.
US, but like
Can you take the mic? Just take the mic.
Oh, yes. I'd just like to share on Orbit. I work in an inclusive school in Shillong, Meghalaya, Bethany Society. And we use Orbit. Actually, I raised the hand when Sir said, who knows Orbit? And you know what? Since I work in the field of disability, I also learned one strategy to make the people feel guilty and convince them to, to support the children. So after 12, our students from Jyotis Road, they go to mainstream colleges, elite colleges in Shillong. So we convince these teachers, those who earned enough, to support our children who are blind, who join these colleges. And 5 of our children, blind children, they got supported from this college. So this Orbit helps us, because Braille, when you write, you have to reopen it when you do corrections and all. But Orbit help you to go exactly to what page that you make mistake, and then you can correct it there and then, like we do it in exercise books. But of course, like Sir said, it is a bit expensive. And children, they fidget and all when it gets spoiled, and it's difficult to get it. But we do have one expert in Shillong. So this man became very famous because he's the only one who does that. And so we are using it, but not in the school level, but in higher school, yes. Higher education. Thank you.
Can you switch off that? I have a good news for you. I have a good news for you. Listen to the news very carefully. While Orbit is expensive, it's available under a scheme of WhatsApp, Voice of Specially Abled People. Voice of Specially Abled People is an American-based organization which is providing Orbit. You only have to pay 10,000 and submit all your documents, and if documents are in order, need is justified, rest of money is paid by Voice of Specially Abled People from Los Angeles, and the Indian beneficiary has to pay only 10,000 rupees. And I request all of you, kindly write down VOSAP, and this is an app, VOSAP. Download the app. This is the world's best app on accessibility. You can see all the buildings which are accessible, which are not accessible. And the best part is, if you see a building which is accessible, you can upload the photograph. And if you see a building which is not accessible, you can upload the photograph on this app. And this app, if you use it, most of devices are available at 1/3 the cost. 2/3 is paid by Voice of SAP, and I'm very happy. I'm one of the advisors to that organization, and it's set up by a very, very close friend, Mr. Pranav Desai, who was motivated by our organization to set up an organization in USA, and he has got a Gujarati donor who has given a demand. You'll be very happy. As much money Pranav raises, he will double the money. And we raise money for him through Global Giving. Global Giving is a very famous world website. Kindly remember Global Giving. If you get registered, you can raise money online. We have raised on that site almost $400,000. I repeat, we have raised already $400,000. Now this money goes to Pranav Bhai. He doubles the money and spends on these devices. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such great information. I think all of us here need the grants and the money. And all these sections that Sir has said on equality, opportunity, Section 21, Section 35, Deen Dayal scheme. And then he went on to talk about autonomy and exclusivity through 2% in CSR. I think we could hear a lot more. The innovative challenge. So thank you so much for all the sharings that you have done. And I'm sure you're going to be plagued after this session for your knowledge, because we all need to know where the grants come from and how to come from. So, bahut bahut dhanyavad. And we will see you again soon. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.